When Louisville head coach Pat Kelsey had a total of 8 commits, I felt comfortable in saying that Louisville was back. But now, with 13 commitments and a full roster, I think it's safe to say Louisville has a top 25 squad coming into next season. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Louisville Sports Talk. I'm your host / creator. My name is Cam. At the end of my last video, I said that I wanted to wait until the roster was completely full to make a full video of the rest of the commitments, and that's what I did. But life always likes to throw you curveballs. I think Mother Nature saw the damage that I was doing when I was out there fishing, and so she decided to give me Lyme disease. So I've been down and out for a couple weeks, but now I'm ready to get back to it, and I'm sure you guys don't care. So let's go ahead and jump into the last 5 commitments of the 2024-2025 season to round off and complete the first recruiting cycle for Pat Kelsey. Now, if you remember in the last video, the last player that we had talked about was Wisconsin transfer Chucky Hepburn. Chucky had committed to us on April 25th, and then things went quiet for about a week and a half, until on May 2nd, we got a commitment from the third and final player from College of Charleston, and a guard named Kobe Rogers. Last year, Kobe was a junior. He is 6'3", 180 pounds. His 2023-2024 season stats are he had 9.7 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game, and 2.2 assists per game on 21.7 minutes per game, shooting 50% from the field. Now, off the bat, I'm just going to say Kobe injured one of his knees in the last game that he played in the NCAA tournament against Alabama. I don't know what specific injury he had, but all I know is that he tore up one of his knees. Now, when you look at his film, one thing that's pretty clear is that he's most comfortable driving into the lane and scoring at the rim. He shoots 58% at the rim, which equates to 63% of his field goal attempts. So more than half of his shot attempts are taken at the rim. I think he's very nice slashing into the paint. He's very comfortable with his footwork, getting into the basket, and he's pretty aggressive when he goes up in the paint to make a shot. Another one of the strengths that he has is his passing skills. He has an 18% assist rate, but what I can tell off of his film is that when he has the ball in his hands, he's a threat at driving into the paint. So he'll make an off-ball defender try to defend him, which causes an offensive player to be open, and Kobe likes to utilize that. He definitely likes to find the open man in the space, and what that tells me is in his mind, he knows that he's a driving threat. He's looking to not only score, but to also find the open man. So his passing is something that we can definitely utilize down in the paint area or even on lob threats. Now, something that's surprising with him is that his catch and shoot is a serious strength of his. His catch and shoot is in the 98th percentile, which is 69% effective field goal percentage. And the reason why I say that it's surprising is because you'll come to find out one of his weaknesses is off the dribble shooting. That's in the 11th percentile at 33% effective field goal percentage. So he's comfortable driving in the lane and getting layups. He's not comfortable pulling up off the dribble. And so one thing that tells me is that he's not really good at creating his own offense. He likes to get most of his points through the transition or through offensive rebounds or just being at the right place at the right time. He's an interesting player for sure. I'm not sure how he'll pan out in a Louisville uniform, but considering that he's going to redshirt this upcoming season and we're going to have him for the 2025-2026 season instead, it's something to look forward to. We have depth at that position, so that's something to start off with. That's not something to knock, but at the same time, he's got an interesting game. And so after the commitment of Kobe Rogers, there was a tiny little uproar amongst the Louisville fan base, and I would say for pretty legitimate reasons, and those reasons being that at that time, after the commitment of Kobe Rogers, Louisville had, I think it was 6 guards, and Louisville had given out 2 scholarships to players who were going to redshirt for this upcoming season. Ali Khalifa and Kobe Rogers, they're both redshirting this upcoming season due to injury. They're going to rehab, and we're not going to have them next year. That's one reason. Another reason being that excluding Ali Khalifa, because he's not playing next year, we technically only had one true forward/center, and James Scott. People were worried in our size and our depth at the center position or the power forward position. At that time, we had been in talks with a couple different players that play the position of the power forward or the center position. We had either passed on them, they had passed on us, they had visited or decided not to come here or whatever, you know. But at that time, we had James Scott, and that was the only true power forward/center. And I'll give it to Pat Kelsey. He definitely gave the Louisville fan base some time to dwell in their feelings and feel the burn for a little bit and watch all the other programs get their players and everything get sorted out amongst everybody else. And Louisville fans definitely heard it amongst the Twitter spaces, and there's just definitely been a lot of toxicity from the last coaching regime. And so Kobe Rogers committed on May 2nd. It wasn't until May 14th when Pat Kelsey finally delivered what everybody had been begging for. On May 14th, Louisville landed a commitment from a 6'10" forward in Kaysen Pryor from the University of Southern Florida. Now, when you read about Kaysen, you'll see that he's become quite the journeyman. He will be playing for his 4th school this year. He started his college ball at Boise State, spending 2 seasons there before transferring to Northwest Florida State for a season, and then he transferred to USF. Last season for USF, Pryor appeared in 32 games, starting in 21 of them. He averaged 13.1 points per game and 7.9 rebounds, 1.8 assists per game on 44.7% field goal percentage, but he also shot 35% from the three-point line, connecting on 37 out of 105 attempts. Now, the thing about Kaysen is that he had been rumored to be in discussions with Louisville. He had even included them in a list, I believe, but then we were left out the list. So it had been considered that he wasn't coming here anymore. But I think Pat Kelsey might have gotten a little bit of the whiff of what everybody was speaking, because he ended up pulling through, coming up with probably one of the best bigs in the portal, I believe. When you look at this guy's tape, first thing you see is that he's very confident with the ball in his hand. And that for a 6'10" big man is not something to overlook. Doesn't matter where he's at on the floor, he's not scared of putting the ball on the floor and forcing his way into the paint to get the shot that he wants. He's got a slick, long body type, so he's able to ease past defenders and get an easy shot, but he's also very physical. When you look at his play, a lot of people in the Louisville fan base have referenced him as Baby Trez in that of Baby Montrezl Harrell. So take that with a grain of salt, but at the same time, this guy's energy and passion is something to definitely appreciate when it comes to a Louisville fan. So he's definitely comfortable getting into the lane, scoring at the rim. 39% of his field goal attempts are at the rim, but another one of his favorite spots, right above the break 3. 13% of his field goal attempts are from there, and he shoots 37% from above the break 3. This guy has a smooth, confident jumper. Whenever you see him shoot it, you think that it's going to go in. And for that to be in a 6'10" big man is just incredible. Someone that can drive into the paint, get the shot that they want. They're not afraid to get aggressive, but he's also not scared to shoot the 3 ball. I mean, this guy, Kaysen Pryor, without seeing him play a single minute in a Louisville uniform, he might be one of my favorite Louisville players on this upcoming team. There's a lot to be seen and said from now until we see the team play, but Kaysen Pryor is someone that I'm extremely looking forward to. The guy is such a threat with the ball in his hands that he becomes a passing threat, and that's another thing consistent amongst the entire roster, is that they're good with the ball in their hands. They're not afraid to put the ball on the floor. A great strength of this team is their passing. We're going to see a lot of open threes, alley-oops, wide open layups. It's definitely going to be a fun offense to watch. And if it wasn't enough for you guys, the day after Kaysen Pryor committed to the University of Louisville, Pat Kelsey got his first commitment from the high school recruiting class. And I'll be honest, I'll go ahead and say it right off the bat. I told a bunch of people that I truly did not believe that we were going to go and get a high school player in this upcoming class for this upcoming year, just because of the way that things were unfolding and the players that we were getting. I mean, they were all through the portal. You had seen that Louisville had been reaching out and communicating and offering a couple of the high school guys, but to get a high school player from this graduating class for this upcoming season is just a home run. Not only that, he got it in a top 30, top 40 prospect in Connie Ruths. Connie is a 6'8", 200-pound former Michigan commit who had decommitted from Michigan after they fired Juwan Howard this past March. Before his commitment to Michigan, he took visits to Florida State, Georgia, Mississippi State, and Georgia Tech. 247 Sports National Basketball Director Eric Bosey describing Ruths in just one word is pretty easy. He's versatile. Capable of playing as a big wing, small forward, or as a small ball 4-man, Ruths has all the tools needed to play multiple roles. He was ranked the number 31 player in the country, the number 6 power forward by 247 Sports. He's a consensus 4-star prospect who played at IMG Academy this past season. And I know that Louisville does not have a good history with top-rated prospects. And when it's all said and done, this guy is a top 10 high school recruit that Louisville has landed, which is something to be said about. It's hard to judge his game based off his highlights because of the competition in high school, but here's to hoping that we can hold on to him in this transfer portal process and develop him into a really strong player. But hats off to Pat Kelsey for landing a top high school player when I honestly did not think it was going to happen this year. So who knows what the next couple of years recruiting the high school players looks like for the University of Louisville. So after a lot of Louisville fans went up in arms about being too small, not having enough depth at the forward position, Pat Kelsey goes and grabs Kason Pryor, a 6'10" power forward, and then he goes and grabs a 6'8", 200-pound high school freshman. But he was not done yet. Just 3 days after the first high school player to commit to Pat Kelsey went and stole another player from Mark Pope over at Kentucky and another former player at BYU. Not only did Pat Kelsey say he wasn't done with the bigs, he said he wasn't done with Mark Pope's players either. 3 days after the commitment of Connie Ruths, Louisville finally got the silent commit that we had been waiting for weeks and weeks and weeks, and BYU big man Noah Waterman. Waterman is a 6'11", 220-pound forward/center who last year for BYU averaged 9.5 points per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, and 0.7 assists per game, shooting 45.7% from the field while also shooting 45.7% from the three-point line. When you look at this guy's game, when you look at this guy's tape, he's a hustler. He's everywhere at the right time. He slashes, he posts screens, he cuts to the basket. 28% of his field goal attempts are at the rim, and he shoots 66% when that close. But I think this guy, more than anything, is a three-point threat. I mean, if you heard what I said about Kason Pryor, about his three-point shooting abilities, how comfortable he is shooting the ball, this guy is Kason Pryor on steroids when it comes to the three-point ball. I mean, he lights it up from the three-point line. 36% left above the break three, 41% right above the break three, 44% left corner three, 30% right corner three, catch and shoot, 83rd percentile, 58% effective field goal percentage. His spot of game, he's 70th percentile. I mean, I can just go on about this guy's shooting stats. This is another one of those players that I'm so excited to see in a Louisville uniform. And I'm sure he'll become a fan favorite when it's all said and done. I mean, shoot, I keep saying it about every single player at this point. I think this entire team is going to pan out so well, and everybody's going to appreciate everything that everyone does, the small things, the physicality. Just after seeing the effort and the care that Pat Kelsey has put into constructing his first roster here as a Louisville head coach, I am so excited to see this team play. It can't be said enough. If there isn't a sold-out Yum Center for the first home game, then I don't know what anyone's doing, because this man has the recipe and he's got us cooking right now. And so after the commitment of Noah Waterman, we were at a total of 12 players. And if you're keeping up, we had 13 players going out, and then we had 12 players transferring in. So that leaves one player, one scholarship open for this upcoming season. And everybody started wondering, who's Pat Kelsey going to hand that scholarship out to? Is it going to be another high school player? Is it going to be a true ball handling point guard? Is it going to be a true center? And our question was answered pretty fast when Frank Anselm eBay, a 6'10", 215-pound center from the University of Georgia, finally committed to us. And I say finally because he had put Louisville in his top 3 or 4, said he was going to commit during a certain date, decided to push that date back a couple of days, even almost a week, and then he finally committed to us. And I'll start off with saying that Frank is going to be the most controversial commit that we've had thus far in the Pat Kelsey era, just solely based off his stat. Last year at Georgia, he averaged 2.6 points, 2.1 rebounds, while shooting 62.8% from the field. He only averaged 9 minutes per game, being that he was a senior last year, and this upcoming season, he's going to be a super senior. It's definitely not a commitment to be over excited about. Now, I've had numerous conversations with a lot of people in regards to Frank's commitment to us, and I solely believe that he's going to be nothing besides a depth piece for us. Someone that's going to come in and give a couple minutes whenever we need to relieve Waterman or Kason Pryor or James Scott, relieve them of their duties for a couple minutes, or he's going to come in if we have foul trouble. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again, maybe Pat Kelsey might be able to utilize something about him and his game that his other coaches weren't able to get out of him. But at the end of the day, I feel like this guy is more of a body and more of a helping hand in the minutes and the rotation more than anything. Now, I hope nothing but the best for Frank, and I hope he comes in and balls out for us without a doubt. But being, like I said, that he's going to be a fifth-year senior next year, averaging 2 points a game and 2 rebounds per game. There's not a lot to be excited about, but here's the better days. And with all that being said, Pat Kelsey has finally put in place his first roster of his Louisville coaching tenure. Now, taking a step back and looking at all the additions and the players that we've gotten, I can't be more proud to call Pat Kelsey my head coach. I'm nothing but excited for this upcoming season. You'll see me in the Yum Center for the first game for sure, and every game after that, just to know that our program is in the hands of someone that cares as much as he does, puts me at ease and makes me feel that we are headed in the right direction. No, there aren't any results on the court yet, but Pat Kelsey has done everything he's needed to win over the hearts of the fans and win their trust, and I can't be more appreciative of that. With all that being said, I'm not going to get into any starting five or any type of rotational conversations yet. I'm going to save that for a different day. At this time, I do believe every single player that's committed has been officially announced by the university, and they're actually here on campus right now. So that's something to be excited about. They're here, they're practicing with each other, they're working, they're building chemistry. And so without a doubt, if you listen to me in my past video, I said Louisville is back. And now I'm comfortably saying that Louisville is back with a top 25 squad. I had conversations with people talking about how Louisville is going to be, how we shouldn't set our expectations past going past 500. And that's just because we have set so many high standards to the previous coaches. And right now at this point, I just want to be able to be a 500 team. But after completing the roster, I 100% believe that we're a top 25 squad and we should make the tournament next year. 100%. Bookmark it. But that's going to be it for today. I've had a really good time talking to you guys. I want you guys to let me know what you think about Pat Kelsey's first official roster being completed, and tell me what you guys think down below in the comments. But other than that, my name is Cam. This is Louisville Sports Talk, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.